Black people. They're everywhere.
I'm gonna be a one-man cheeseburger apocalypse.
Okay, so maybe not everywhere, but they are in our movies, stealing the roles of white people. You got Mary Jane, you got Roland, you got Elle, and it doesn't end there. And some people aren't happy about it. But why? Is it because they're horrible racists? I don't think so. I think it's something else entirely that no one is talking about. So let's talk about some motherfucking dog whistles.
Back from the dead.
Hi, I'm Sitch. I'm a guy in a suit because I have no job. I have a frown because I'm riddled with crippling depression. And I'm black because I'm a self-hating
fucking white male!
And this is your PSA on dog whistles. What's the PSA stand for?
Perfect situational awareness, Lana.
It stands for theft.
But, mister, what's a dog whistle?
Well, Lil Sitch, it's obviously a whistle only dogs can hear. You fucking idiot. Of course, I'm talking about political dog whistles. That's when someone says something that people think is really code for something else. For example, when Donald Trump says,
"We're going to build the wall,"
liberals say that's really a dog whistle. For racism! That what Trump supporters really hear is, now, I'm not saying that's true or not. That's not what this video's about. This video's about how all the black people be stealing our nerd shit, and why it pisses some people off. But feel free to argue about Donald Trump in the comment section below, where you can waste your precious time and energy yelling at a 13-year-old troll you'll never meet. Haha, I'm just kidding. We all know your time isn't precious. No, this video is about dog whistles and perception, really. A dog whistle is when something is perceived as something beyond its literal meaning. That certain people who are supposedly racist know they can't win a political argument by being openly racist. So they use a sort of code. You know, subtle racism is fine. You just can't be overt about it. It is current year.
Yeah, but isn't that confusing? I mean, liberals think everything's racist.
Ha ha! They sure do, Lil Sitch. Those dirty commies.
Oh no. When it comes down, everyone...
Communist detected on American soil. Lethal force engaged. Communism is a lie. Death is a preferable alternative to communism. Democracy is non-negotiable.
I love you.
Democracy will never be defeated. Communist target acquired.
You thought that was adorable. You didn't think about like the pillaging of the continent.
The last
of Hawaii.
domino falls here. We will not fear the red menace. Better dead than red.
It's your worst that didn't give you a 1 star. Fucking selfish.
Dog whistles don't just have to be about race. You may remember this gem from everyone's favorite Rubot.
And you know what they say about men with small hands?
Ah, talking about my penis.
Oh my god. Is this really what politics has come to? We've moved beyond the figurative into the literal dick measuring contest? Oh, the Patri-Archie! Oh! Now there's 2 types of dog whistles, or at least I'm saying there are for the sake of this video. We'll call the one I just described overt. It was created on purpose, or at least believed to be on purpose. Marco Rubio wants you to know he's talking about Donald Trump's He's just too much of a to say it. The other one I'll call incidental. That's when a dog whistle exists, but it's not on purpose. And that's what this video is all about.
Then why did you waste all that time explaining the other one?
You little... So, what's an incidental dog whistle?
Hey, good question.
That's when something exists like, say, a shitty Ghostbusters remake, which was created purely as a cheap, lazy, desperate attempt to make a buck off nostalgia. Now, when they announced the main cast was going to be all female, some people on the internet got mad. Many people said it was because they're horrible, racist, sexist, misogynistic bigots. But honestly, I don't think it's all that. Now, feel free to tell me I'm a horrible, misogynistic apologist and write to my employer to get me fired for having an opinion. Send your hate mail to 1033 Go Fuck Yourself Lane, care of Babs. You see, the Ghostbusters remake is a kind of incidental dog whistle because people viewed it as representing something other than what it was presented as. SJWs, and some slightly more sane people, viewed it as a symbol of female empowerment, female equality, breaking the glass ceiling, sticking it to the male systems of power and oppression. You know, all that crap we've heard before. But the people who didn't like the all-female cast didn't view it that way. And that's where some of the confusion comes from. They viewed it as another victory for SJW ideology, another example of the regressive SJW philosophy worming its way into mainstream American culture, particularly nerd culture. So the side that views the movie as this sign, this symbol of female empowerment, assumes that the people who don't like the movie view it as the same symbol they do. Thus, they also assume if you don't like the movie, then you must not like female empowerment. But most of the people who didn't like the idea of the female cast didn't view it as a symbol of women's rights or women's equality. They viewed it as a symbol that movie studios are pandering to SJWs. Now, all the special snowflakes will argue that SJW ideals are all about women's right and equality, but that's an even longer issue for another video. And I know what you're thinking.
But Sitch, what about all the racist, sexist comments people made?
Look, I'm not saying there aren't racist and sexist people out there. Obviously there are.
These are guys that are named D-Money, Smoothie, Shifty, these type of guys that come from Connecticut, New York. They come up here, they sell their heroin, then they go back home. Incidentally, half the time they impregnate a young white girl before they leave.
Is that not the prettiest young white girl in all of Colombia?
I just think they're in the minority. Red Letter Media made a great video showcasing how few of the comments on the Ghostbuster trailer were actually sexist or racist in nature. And many people reported that if they commented negatively on the trailer, but not in a racist or sexist way, their comments were deleted. Obviously so Sony could create a positive spin for the movie, claiming all the haters are just bigots. Now feel free to ignore that, because being a team player is more important than the truth. But even more importantly, you're on the fucking internet! Jesus Christ! This shit's been around for more than a decade and people still haven't figured it out? Look, everyone wants attention. On the sea of shit that is the internet, one of the easiest ways to do that is to say offensive shit, to push people's buttons. Most trolls don't care or even believe anything they're saying. It's just to get a rise out of you. It's current fucking year! How do people not know this? So who's right in how the movie should be perceived? Well, no one. No one's wrong either, though. See, that's the danger of dog whistles. They exist in the minds of the people hearing them. They're created by perception. This in turn creates confusion. Often people are arguing about different things, and neither side realizes it. A quick side note. Can someone please explain to me why when I typed in mind on the free clip art sites, I got all these pictures of naked chicks? We're all the naked men meditating. I'm offended. This is an outrage. Sexism, sexism, MRA, MRA. See, every time a white male character is replaced by a minority or gender swapped, it becomes one of these dog whistles. Some view it as a sign of progress and diversity, and some view it as the SJW shoehorn being rammed into some dumb nerd shit that they liked. It's all perception, really. I mean, honestly, I highly doubt Paul Feig knows anything about SJWs. He's just some new male that never understood male bonding. Probably because when he was in school, the other kids made fun of him. Probably because he's a little bitch. I guess he never had Clint Eastwood to teach him how to be a man.
Perfect. A pole lock and a chain.
How you doing, Martin, you crazy Italian prick?
Waltz, you cheap bastard. I should have known you'd come in. I was having such a pleasant day.
What'd you do? Chew some poor blind guy out of his money? Gave him the wrong change?
Who's the nip?
Oh, he's a pussy kid from next door. I'm just trying to man him up a little bit. You see, kid? Now that's how guys talk to him.
So Paul Feig tells Amy Pascal, you know that crazy lady that got demoted when I came out here was crazy? He tells her he wants an all-female Ghostbusters, and she's like, do it! Because she wants more
Strong, independent woman.
in movies, which I don't think anyone has a problem with. I mean, everyone liked Ripley, and Sarah Connor, and Beatrice Kiddo. You know, the same three examples that everyone uses. People just want movies to be good, not...
That stuff went everywhere, by the way, in every crack. Very hard to wash off.
It doesn't help that nowadays the movie industry is fucked. They only want to make movies about pre-existing things and superhero crap. Speaking of crap, why does Zack Snyder want to ruin all comics? First he ruined the iconic Watchmen, and now it's Superman and Batman? What's his fucking problem? Now since Hollywood only wants to make movies and franchises about pre-existing things, that means a lot of stuff by white dudes about white dudes. Why is that? Because obviously white people are the master race. Woo! Master race! Woo! I mean, demographics and, you know, past structural racism. Yeah. Hey, how come it's always black people they shove in this stuff? How come it's not Spics? I mean, Spanish people. I mean, Latinos. They make up way more of the population. They seem pretty underrepresented in the non-telenovela department. You know who is overrepresented in everything? The Jews. What's up with that? I wonder why that is.
There are no limits.
It figures it would be something like this.
You know, it wasn't really until the 90s when they started shoehorning in diversity into all the kids shows that will never be made into movies. Jesus, they're even making a Power Rangers movie? Wait a minute. What the fuck? They're making a Legends of the Hidden Temple movie? What? Just bring back the fucking show. God knows kids need to be more physically active since Pokemon Go died as fast as it came on. What's next? They're gonna make a fucking Guts movie? How about Double Dare? You know, that might actually make a good movie though. I wonder how many families that show destroyed.
Well, Becky, the whole family was gonna go on a vacation to sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but your dumbass couldn't find the fucking flag up in the giant nose!
Now you might be saying, what about G.I. Joe and the original Star Trek? They had a diverse cast. Well, they were both led by white guys, and they don't fit the point I'm making, so I'm just gonna ignore them. Another reason nerds are so butthurt is it's typically always nerd shit that diversity gets forced into. Comics is the thing right now. I know! I was waiting for the day an Amazon warrior princess would use the word mansplain too! Now some people say, why don't they just make up new characters instead of replacing old ones? Well, cause they're fucking lazy. I mean, look at this cover. Who thought it was okay to make Carol look like some kind of elf gremlin? But I'm not just talking about creators being lazy. I'm talking about you!
You, America! F*** you!
You're all lazy assholes. People don't like new things. They all want the same shit they've been having for years. That's why you want to go to Chili's when your dumb girlfriend wants to try something new and go to that Indian fusion restaurant. I mean, besides the fact that Indian food sucks. Anyways, we're getting off track. To recap, nerds get mad about racial recasts and gender swapping, not because they hate women or minorities. No, it's because they hate another group. They hate SJWs, and they view it as the SJW shoehorn coming in as something they like. A supposed victory in the culture war for SJWs, while SJWs and others can view it as a sign of overcoming adversity and breaking the glass ceiling.
But what's wrong with SJW ideology?
Well, besides calling all white nerds racist, sexist, horrible people, it's kind of a complicated issue, and I said I would do that in another video.
But you keep saying the SJW like it's this bad thing without defining it or explaining what it is. Would it have made more sense for that to be your first video?
Hey, you know, isn't it weird how SJWs always go after nerd stuff? You know, as opposed to things that are actually overtly misogynistic. Like, I don't know, rap? I mean, a lot more stupid kids listen to rap and pop music than read comics. But no, it's Carol's big tits and sexy thighs that are the problem, not this. Now feel free to post in the comments below about all the rap songs pertaining to female empowerment and how I'm a horrible racist, and about how the song 99 Problems But a Bitch Ain't One is actually about drug-sniffing dogs, hashtag not all rap. Look, don't get me wrong, I don't want rap or any other music or art form censored. I just think it's weird what SJWs in the media focus on. Feminists used to be very critical of rap back in the day. I guess now they're too worried about being labeled as racist. Can't have white bitches on the internet crying about rap. Or maybe it's that the SJWs are this generation's jock bullies, and nerds have always been a prime target to pick on. People like to forget that we're all animals. Animals looking for a way to let out anger and frustration on others. If we convince ourselves that other people are bad, then that makes it okay to attack them in a vicious mob. Twilight had a lot of fucked up stuff about sex, relationships, and how girls should view themselves, yet I don't remember a media uproar about it, and little girls eat that shit up. You'd think that would have more of an impact on young girls over comics. You know, ironically, when making this video, I was looking through the YouTube copyright section trying to learn the rules, and they have these videos posted as positive examples of acceptable material, and oh look, someone is actually criticizing Twilight by comparing it to Buffy. I mean, it's not really funny, and it's just kind of a shallow, surface-level critique. It doesn't really get into the depth of...
Mother of God.
Wait a minute. John McIntosh? John Crazy Fuck McIntosh made a video that is hailed as some positive standard by YouTube? Well, I guess it's all clear now. Twilight is obviously fantastic. A true representation of a positive female protagonist. If the new Ghostbusters came out in like 2008, no one would have cared, and people were definitely still racist and sexist back then, but everything wasn't perceived as this attack on nerd culture. You didn't have all these articles declaring that all white nerds are horrible, sexist, racist losers. I mean, it was just kind of assumed. Nerds would have all shouted with joy if the new Ghostbusters was based off of Ghostbusters Extreme, and that was a diverse cast. You had a super smart black guy, a white guy in a wheelchair, a goth chick of questionable ethnic background, and a lazy Puerto Rican. But we can't have that now. Now everything sucks. Hey, remember when nerds wanted Donald Glover to be Spider-Man? Yeah, it wasn't because he was black and they wanted to shoehorn him in there. It's because, you know, they actually liked him as an actor and thought he would be good for the role. You know, why an actor should be cast in a role. Either that or to draw mouth-breathing idiots in who need a big name to see a movie. Still don't believe me? Look at Star Trek. Probably one of the nerdiest things around. Yet you had a black captain and a female captain. And that was in like the 1800s. And people didn't complain about that. They complained because Deep Space Nine turned into stupid schlock.
Dodge this next attack if you can! But know that if you do, your precious little planet will be gone!
Some people complain that 7 of 9 was just a sex bait, and almost every episode after her introduction was about her. And yeah, she was hot as fuck. And yes, she was the overwhelming focal point for most of the episodes after her introduction. But I don't think that was just about her sex appeal. Honestly, she was one of the most interesting characters on the show. Everyone else was kinda boring. Except for the Doctor. Probably because the two of them were on this quest for humanity. No one else really had much going for them. I like Janeway too. People complained that she was reckless, but after the meek Cisco, I was fine with that. Maybe they made Cisco so passive because they're afraid of having some angry black dude stomping around. I guess everything sucked back then too. Look, I don't know. Maybe Keith Stanfield will be great as L. I won't know till I see it because I haven't seen any of his movies, because I'm a horrible racist. Maybe he'll pull off the whole weirdo antisocial genius really well. I'm less afraid of the color of his skin, and more worried they'll do the standard Hollywood autistic character, like Jesse Eisenberg in Social Network, or Donald Glover in The Martian, or Jesse Eisenberg in Zach Bat vs. Snyder-Man. L is a much more interesting character than all that. Wait, why the hell is he speaking in public with a mask that doesn't cover his entire face? That's a pretty fucking huge plot point. This movie's gonna fucking suck. The casting for Light seems pretty screwed up too. Light's supposed to be a young, alpha male, pretty boy asshole who's bored with the world. Like Ryan Reynolds, if you could remove all the levity and sarcasm and replace it with brood and insanity. But I don't know. I've never seen any of Nat Wolff's movies, because I don't have a vagina. I guess the casting director felt bad about all the fuck-ups, so they got William Dafoe to be Ryuk, which is pretty awesome. You know, it's pretty depressing. I was talking to some younger kids about William Dafoe being Ryuk, and they're all like,
"Wow, that seems kind of dumb. They're gonna get the Green Goblin to be Ryuk?"
And I was just like, oh god. But honestly, who gives a shit about Mary Jane? She's just some dumb girl. It's not like she's an important male character. I mean, I find it funny when people complain about the sanctity of the original character in reference to comics. Look, don't get me wrong, I'm a whiny fanboy too. All the changes D&D have made to Game of Thrones are awful. Last season was a fucking joke. But in comics, it's a little different. Characters' personalities change all the time depending on whatever hack writer is writing them at the moment. Sometimes Mary Jane sucks, and sometimes she's awesome. It all depends on whatever contrived storyline drama the writer wants to shove in. When well written, Peter and Mary Jane's relationship can be really powerful and special, but oftentimes it's not. Speaking of writers, what's the deal with Bendis? Is he a literal cuck? I know that's like the go-to insult nowadays, but with Bendis, I wonder if it's actually true. He's written at least 3 times about Peter getting his identity stolen and then cucked. First it was a one-off joke issue, then it was a whole arc, then it was an entire series. What's next? The Universal ride? Are we finally gonna get to experience Spidey getting cucked in 3D? I don't know, maybe I'm being too hard on old Bendis. Maybe being cucked is just in Spider-Man's nature. Hey, you guys remember Gwen Stacy? You know, Spider-Man's first girlfriend who was supposed to be a symbol of purity and virtue? Yeah, she fucked Norman Osborn. That's right, all you supposed Spider-Man fans who've only seen the movies or watched the cartoons. Gwen Stacy fucked the Green Goblin.
Why would you draw that?
She even had his kids! Let me remind you that Peter never had sex with Gwen either. He was a virgin till MJ. And this is all still canon! At least I think it is. Who the fuck even knows anymore? Look, maybe Idris Elba will be great as Roland. His accent was okay in American Gangster. I mean, yeah, it's weird, cause Roland is supposed to be this standard archetype of a cowboy, which, you know, isn't a black guy. Look, I saw Django. I liked it as much as the next guy. Still seems odd though. Hey, why are they giving a limey Brit the role of American cowboy? Stop appropriating our culture, you fucks! Who am I kidding? It's probably gonna suck. They always fuck up King's non-dramas anyways. They're not even starting with the first book. You know, the one everyone can agree that they liked? But they said the movies are going to be a sequel to the series anyways. How is that possible, you ask? Well, quick spoiler warning. Almost everyone thinks the end of the Dark Tower series sucks. It had the most anticlimactic final boss fight of all time, but people really didn't like the end, which didn't really bother me that much. I mean, I liked it as a kid when Mighty Max did it, and it worked for the Star Trek reboot. Well, it worked for 2 of the 3 Star Trek reboots. Sorry, I know I'm rambling like your mom after she drunk a whole box of wine, contemplating how she got here, married to your lazy, dead-end job dad, and having a disappointment of a child. So why is any of this shit about dog whistles even important? Well, I found in life that at the core, most arguments are really arguments about definitions. 2 people or groups are really arguing about the definition of something, but they don't realize it. And if you don't realize what's at the core of your argument, then it'll never end. Also, it can suck people into supporting positions they don't even really believe. I see a lot of people who are against all this forced diversity, making all these arguments about original intent and whatnot. And maybe for some of them that's true. But I feel for most, it's just because they don't like the idea of SJWs winning victories in the culture war. Which, hey, I can get behind that. But they don't express this, because to them, that's sort of a given. They don't even think about expressing it. But other people don't really understand that, or why they're anti-SJW in the first place. And people are inherently lazy and stupid, so they just want to assume others are racist and sexist, because it's easier. Sure, a creator's original intent can be important, or even the idea that if they're going to shoehorn something in just to appeal to SJWs, that probably means they're going to make greater story sacrifices down the line as well. Look at the new Star Wars. I don't care that Rey had a vagina instead of a penis, but holy shit, did they have to make her such a Mary Sue? Was this because J.J. Abrams is a shitty writer? Or is it because he's smart, and he knows that he has to appeal to whiny SJW fucks? And if they made Rey's character like Luke, who totally sucked the first movie and constantly needed rescuing or was getting shit on by other people?
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
You can waste time with your friends when your chores are done.
The SJWs would have labeled the movie as sexist, and most of the Star Wars fanboys aren't going to care. Compared to how awful the prequels were, the new ones just had to walk out on stage and not shit themselves to get thunderous applause. I think it's just important for people to understand why they don't like something. I found when people like or don't like something and they're not really 100% sure why, they can get locked into these mental pitfalls. It can be easy to get sucked into other people's arguments by responding to their labels, especially if you don't like them. The enemy of my enemy fallacy and all that. Spend enough time in this environment and it can warp your thinking. One day you may find yourself suddenly supporting something that goes against everything you believe in, just to spite your enemies. SJWs have already sort of fallen prey to this. Where do you think all this Islamophobia stuff came from? Liberals, and feminists especially, used to be pretty vehemently against Islam, because traditionally it views women as basically second-class citizens and is very anti-democratic and anti-LGBT. And I know, hashtag not all Muslims. There are more moderate and liberal followers who don't buy into all that stuff. And to be fair, feminism and liberals weren't just anti-Islam, they were anti-religion. At least stricter, more conservative views of religion. Both Christianity and Judaism have their own forms of gender discrimination. Yet SJWs have seemed to have given Islam this free pass. Not totally, but definitely in part because conservatives are typically anti-immigration and anti-Islam. So SJWs and other liberals get sucked into supporting the opposite side just to be opposite the conservatives. And look, yeah, I know, it's more complicated than that, but this is just an example. It's a larger issue for its own video. I would like to go into what I call team playing more, but this dumb video is almost 30 minutes already, and I had to talk about Star Trek for at least 15 of those minutes. Most of the time with these arguments, both sides come to the table already with a preconceived definition of whatever it is they're arguing, but neither side explains this to the other. They simply project their definition onto their opponent and argue against a shadow position that doesn't even exist. The only way to progress in these discussions is to get to the core issue. And that's that people like me view the current young liberal movement, dubbed SJWs, as a step backwards in terms of progress. So we perceive that whenever these movies and comics pander to SJWs, that means that more and more people are buying into what we believe is their regressive ideology. But in truth, I don't think that's what's happening here. And I'm going to talk about that in my next video. So why does any of this shit matter? Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't. Time will pass and everyone you know will die. 99.9999% of us as words and thoughts will be forgotten, and for those lucky enough to be remembered, their words and teachings will be mangled and repurposed for whatever some asshole wants them to mean at the time. And in the grand scheme of things, even that's unimportant. Yeah, this is a pretty down way to end a video, but who cares? Fuck you. Oh, I know. I'll just do what they do in all those Indian and kids movies. Who cares how depressing something is, as long as it ends with a dance number.
Voice module online. Audio functionality test initialized. Designation Liberty Prime. All systems nominal. Freedom is the sovereign right of every American. We will not fear the Red Menace. America will never fall to communist invasion. Democracy is non-negotiable. Communism is a lie, America will never fall to communist invasion. Democracy will never be defeated. Designation Liberty Prime. Destroy all communists.
You didn't think about like the pillaging of the continent of Hawaii.
Destroy communism is a lie. Embrace democracy, or you will be eradicated.
I'm not judging you because you founded it Goodwill and it was a good find. I'm not judging you.
Democracy is non-negotiable. We will not fear the Red Menace.
Not. You have been actually very rude and extremely entitled.
We will not fear the Red Menace. Freedom is the sovereign right of every American. America will never fall. The last domino falls here. Better dead than red.
The weirdest night of my entire life. Continent of Hawaii.